Then, all of a sudden, she showed up one day. I was so excited to see her after so long. I ran to hug her, but she had brought all my belongings to abandon me at my grandparents' house. I was devastated, to say the least. I lived with my grandparents until high school. I was happy with them. My mom used to show up sometimes just to tell me how much she loved and cared about me. Sometimes I used to question her why she had abandoned me at my grandparents' house if she loved me so much. I had no answer. She would try to cover it up by saying, "Oh, your brothers are getting old. They need a hand to do the shopping and take out the garbage." It was much later when she admitted the real reason. She had given my room to her husband Bill's children. Mom's husband had 2 children who moved into our house with Bill after their wedding. Mom prioritized her new family over me. It was natural for me to resent that, so eventually, I stopped bothering her. After high school, I left my grandparents' house but visited them often. They were like saviors for me. If it weren't for them, my childhood would have been ruined. I am now 24 years old. After working a year in marketing, I thought about starting my own business. I needed capital for that, so I thought about selling my house. Oh yes, I didn't mention it before. There is a surprise for Mom and her loving family. Actually, the house they live in belongs to me. Yes, it is mine. My dad made a will on his deathbed and left me every last penny he had, including the house. I was a child when the lawyer read his will after his funeral, but from the expression on my mother's face, I can safely say that she did not like it at all. I later learned that she tried several times to annul the will, but she lost each time. My father had made a very precise will, establishing that the house would be mine, but I could only sell or rent it after I turned 21. Until then, no one could touch the property. Dad probably foresaw Mom's plan, and that's why he made such a will. Otherwise, she could have manipulated me in my childhood to give her the house. Last month, I called Mom to let her know about my house painting plan, but I couldn't find my calls. This week, when I went to see my mom, I told them I was planning to make some extra money with the house. They had a strange reaction. I asked them what was going on. They said she may have to face a lot of resistance to evict the house because Mom's stepdaughter is pregnant with a teenager who has run away from her responsibilities. Plus, Bill has lost his full-time job and is working at a store in the afternoons, so they're basically in a bad financial situation. Now I really don't know what to do. I mean, I need that house too. Now I've given up my job and need capital to start my business. Update 1, as I said, my mom informed me that she and her family are going through a bad time, so they may not evict my house. I thought about letting Mom know about my plan and giving them a few months to rebuild their lives. I was thinking of giving a month's notice before, but knowing their situation, I thought about giving 3 to 4 months. As Mom wouldn't answer the calls, I went to see her at home. The house wasn't like before and neither was my mom. They both had a cold vibe. Maybe she had seen the reason behind my visit. When I saw myself at the door, she sketched a fake smile and half hugged me. Keep in mind we were seeing each other after a long time. Yes, she comes to visit me after I entered adolescence. Yes, I had become bitter towards her. Why wouldn't I? Even though we met after so many years, she didn't even bother to ask me how I had been. She wasn't interested in hearing from me. It was like, "Oh, you're here. It must have been something important that brought you to my doors." To please her, I said, "Oh no, nothing important. I just came to see you. It's been a long time." She smiled and said, "Clear." There was a wave of silence followed by another 5 minutes until I got up to leave. It was definitely unpleasant. I didn't feel welcome at all. Besides Mom, my pregnant half-sister was also at home and she also looked at me very badly as if I were there to cause some kind of trouble. For the time being, I abandoned the idea of reclaiming the house. I explored other ways to get the money for my business, but Mom crossed all the boundaries of narcissism. Last week was the 15th anniversary of my dad's death. My mom organized a small prayer ceremony in the church. As I was in town, I decided to have a decent ceremony, feeding the poor and giving away some gifts to underprivileged children. I invited my friends and relatives for prayer. I also emailed Mom inviting her, but I couldn't. When I traced the email history, I found out I hadn't opened it. This was my first email to her. I thought it had gone to spam or something, so I showed up at her house again. This time Mom wasn't home. My stepsister Brenda walked out the door with no greetings, just a direct question, "Are you back again?" "What's up?" I said I was here to see Mom. She said, "With the way she called you last time, you think she wants to see you again?" She said it so directly that I didn't understand what she said and blurted out, "I was to invite Mom to my dad's prayer ceremony." She laughed in my face and said, "That was ages ago. You're holding on to that?" I said, "Sorry, he was my dad and it's my business." Now you can check for a part 2 by pressing share and more.